Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, my friends and family online, and you, welcome. My name is Brian P. Today I just happen to be sitting in the okay city of Winnipeg. It is March 12th, 2023, and as usual, every second weekend on a Sunday, I bring my children to see their mother, who is a pretty hardcore addict. Right now, methamphetamine seems to be the drug of choice, but to be honest, I'm not there, so I don't really know what's going on. All I know is she's not well. And for the sake of my children and our children, I hope she gets better. So I have 2 hours to kill, and I want to talk about a situation where an 11-year-old tried to gaslight me. My oldest vetter saw Miles take a controller from Ketis while they were playing Xbox. And Vetter comes to me and says, Miles took the controller. Now, I want you to understand this is truth. Very, very straightforward. Miles took the controller from Ketis. Okay. Miles, Ketis should get it back. Miles shouldn't have it. Oh, yeah, Miles wanted to take player one from Ketis. Well, how do you know that? I asked him, and he said, well, I saw it. So I went over and I asked Ketis, not Miles, because the accusation was that something happened to Ketis, right? So Ketis would have a problem with what happened, and Miles would maybe have a problem with me if I had to get after him. So, Ketis, were you playing player one? I asked him, just to clarify. He says, nope. I'm like, oh. Okay, so the possibility is he used the controller for something, or Miles had Ketis' controller. In any case, the truth was there was a controller exchange. I couldn't doubt that. So Vetter and I are talking to Ketis and Miles, and Ketis has no problem with the controller. Miles is unsure. He's not denying or affirming anything. So Ketis obviously has no problem. He's playing Minecraft with Miles. Miles is playing Minecraft with Ketis. Between those two, there's no issue. So now I'm looking at my oldest and saying, what's your problem? He's like, Miles shouldn't have it. He should give it back. I'm like, Ketis doesn't have a problem. The only problem here is you. And Ketis says he didn't even have player one, and which really upset Vetter because Vetter believed what he saw, and he saw what he saw. In his interpretation, it's very hard to convince an 11-year-old. It's very hard to convince a 70-year-old that their interpretation is based in lies or misinterpretation of facts. Because the fact was, Miles and Ketis had an exchange of a controller. Vetter had a problem with it and thought Miles needed to get in trouble. So trying to convince my 11-year-old that he didn't see what he thinks he saw, and the only problem here is the problem he has with what he saw. He really felt that Miles did wrong, and now he's really like crying, and he's rocking a little bit, and he's doing stimming techniques that I do when I get upset. Like I might grab at my pants and clench the fabric off and on. He might shake his hands or wiggle his fingers or slap his thighs, anything like that. I smoke cigarettes when I get nervous, you know what I mean? I stim. So he will, if he gets really upset, he might start rolling his hands on the table while he's crying and not looking at me. He'll just stare off. He's been diagnosed with autism, so clearly his abilities to socialize are very strong, but he doesn't get all the right cues. So he's convincing me he saw something that's wrong, and he can't balance the fact that nothing's wrong, and he's really upset, and he can't seem, he's got that cognitive dissonance where those things don't add up. So I had to teach him a lesson. I have a little book that my missus gave me for my birthday. Crystal gave me a book by Lee Hammock. It's just a journal with a few beautiful quotations in it, some words of affirmation and guidance and wisdom, and then it's open for you to create your own path. So one of the first things I started to do is mark down a couple of notes for an idea, and I made a video. I hated it. I got rid of like 12 minutes. I just made notes, deleted all 12 minutes. I hated the video. So I had to prove to Vetter he was gaslighting himself, and then therefore he was trying to gaslight me into believing there was a problem. Why? Because he believed it. So everything he said was to convince me. Kiedis's eyes, he looked mad when it happened. I know, he says, I know Miles wanted player one back. That's why there was an exchange. I just know it. I saw Kiedis was upset. Now he's acting like he's not upset. I saw this. I'm upset about it. He must have been. If I'm upset, he had to be upset. Do you see where he's gaslighting himself? So, as he continues to get upset, he continues to get upset, and he is just barely holding back tears. So, I take Mr. Lee Hammock's book, which is now mine, obviously, although I didn't put my name on it, and I say, Vetter, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Please pay attention to me. It's very important. I took the book and I turn around. So my back was to him, right? And even if he could see my face, even if he could see my cheek, I tried to hide it so he couldn't see anything. Turn my back all the way to him. I took the book. I opened it up so he could see me open up the book. And then I grabbed the page so he could see my fingers were on either side of the page, right? And with my back turned, I went, and I did it really loud. I closed the book, or I hid the book, and I looked at him and I said, Vetter, did I tear the paper? He says, no. And he's right, I didn't. Why would I? Right? Why would I tear the paper? I asked, how do you know? He's like, because you didn't. I said, how do you know? I heard you go. I'm like, because I blew the paper? Like, how do you know? Because you heard me blow? Yeah, you didn't rip it. I heard you blow. Like, oh, now I'm learning. He knew it was so obvious. He knew I was blowing. Okay. And then he says, I saw your cheeks. I'm like, no, you didn't. He's like, yes, I did. I said, my back was completely turned. He said, I could see you from an angle. I said, Vetter, no, you couldn't. I said, what you saw was the truth. And you were telling me everything you need to tell me to convince me that you know the truth. But the truth is, you never saw me. He's like, and he got really upset again, and he started stimming, and he started rolling Play-Doh. He started rolling Play-Doh on the table, and he was crying, and he was really upset. And he wouldn't speak because I was telling him he didn't see me, and I was denying his reality. Now he's suffering the cognitive dissonance. I do know the truth, but I'm actually causing psychosis in him and he's stimming, and so I know he cannot balance what I've taught so far. So I say, hold on, it's okay. I said, I'm going to do it again, okay? I turn my back and I make the blow louder. I said, did I rip it? He says, no. I said, how do you know? He's like, I can hear you blowing. I said, okay. And you can see me blowing, right? Now you can see me, right? Correct? Yeah, I can, because I was hiding the book and hiding my face, but I was going, and I was looking at him so he can see I'm blowing. And he can see I'm making the fake sounds, right? He's where you are, and I've got the book, and I'm like this. Did I rip the book? And he laughs. He says no. And I go, did I rip the book? He says no. And he laughs. I said, Vetter, did I rip the book? And he goes, you did. Is that your book? The shock. He couldn't even believe it was my book anymore. He thought I was going to get in trouble for what I did. He couldn't believe. Later, he says, I wasn't that shocked. I said, Vetter, you're lying and gaslighting yourself to pretend you were better than you were. Don't pretend you were shocked. I mean, when I go, oh my God, I said, granted, those weren't your eyes. I cannot perfectly mimic your eyes, but understand there was shock on you. And yes, maybe it wasn't as big as I'm making it, but you were shocked. Don't downplay. Don't say it wasn't that much shock. Don't downplay by saying it was something it wasn't. It was shock. Don't pretend it was less than shock. It wasn't that much shock. What do you mean that? There's no way to measure that. If you say it wasn't that shocking, you could say I was shocked, but I wasn't extremely shocked. I was just a little shocked. Even then, but you were still shocked. So you can't say you weren't shocked. And the gaslighter would say, I wasn't shocked. And you might say you were shocked. I have it on video. They're like, well, I was a little shocked, but I wasn't as shocked as you're saying. They're gaslighting themselves to feel better for their feelings and to convince themselves that what they're feeling right now is 100% real and accurate. When the fact is, it's just gaslighting. He could not believe that even though he knew in his mind 4 times, 5 times in a row, he knew I didn't. When I ripped it, the disbelief that crossed over his eyes was so quick. It was, oh my God, is that your book? Are you allowed to do that? Disbelief. He's almost like redirecting from the fact that he knew I didn't to, oh my God, you did it. Like those little terms actually take responsibility from him saying, I know you didn't. I can see you blowing on it. I know that you blew. I can hear you blowing. Don't tell me you ripped the paper. Oh my God, you ripped the paper? Are you allowed to do that? Is that your book? Do you see are you allowed to do that? Is that against the law? Are you breaking the law? Is that your book? Prove to me who you are. I thank you for being here today. Vetter learned the lesson that even because he knows I didn't do it, even because he knows because Vetter knows that Miles took the controller, he knows that somebody's upset. He just doesn't know it's him. He just knows someone's upset, but he's blaming Ketis. He's saying Ketis is upset because of Vetter's feelings. He's trying to get Miles in trouble because he feels Miles did something wrong, but I'm trying to convince him he didn't see what he saw. And this cognitive dissonance that happens in a child, this was an amazing teaching moment. I gave him video games for learning that the difference between feeling and knowing and the truth is such a fine line sometimes that we can convince ourselves we know something that just isn't true. And narcissists are the kings and the queens of convincing themselves that what they see is 100% fact. And if you get stuck in your feelings and you ignore the truth, you're nothing but toxic, narcissistic, and you may never be a good parent. So smarten the hell up. Be a better parent. I love the fact that you're here with me. Thank you again. Have yourself a fantastic day. I hope I didn't make you feel too uncomfortable, and if I did, those are your feelings. If you don't want to hear me, move on. You have yourself a fantastic day as you move on. Please, thank somebody today. Validate what they've done for you, okay? When you validate people, you help them heal. Heal out loud by validating somebody today, okay? Have yourself a great day. It's beautiful out there. I'm in Winnipeg, and I'm still happy today. Bless someone. Thank you. Bless you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Please leave a like, follow, share, go to the YouTube channel, please. I got a bunch of other stuff. They're not broken down into shorter videos. So Brian P. over and out.